Good morning. Welcome each of you here to where the Centers for Spiritual Living is meeting this morning, and each of you at home to be here for our meditation and for the service hopefully to follow. I will read a short selection from The Science of God Realization by Roy Eugene Davis, and then we will go into meditation. Regardless of the era in which we live, when aspiration to self and God realization is compelling, rapid spiritual growth is possible. When we are spiritually aware, we are impervious to environmental influence of all kinds. Thus, even in an era of confusion, we can be enlightened. Since the events and circumstances we encounter correspond to our mental states of awareness and behaviors, our experiences will be fortunate. So to live freely, effectively, and enjoyably, think constructively. Refuse to allow negative thoughts to distort your mind and awareness. Nourish your mind with your own positive thoughts and the positive ideas of others. Read inspirational literature. Emotions are a feeling response to our urges or thoughts, or to events we observe or hear about. They can be controlled by cultivating souled awareness and the positive ideas of others. Read inspirational literature. Refuse to allow negative subconscious inclinations or tendencies to influence your mental states, emotions, actions, or reactions. Replace negative inclinations and habits with positive thoughts, feelings, and actions. In time, negative subconscious conditionings will be weakened, and their force will be constructively transmuted. When the soul force that was formerly confined by negative subconscious state is released, it will empower your life. Perform all actions with rational, decisional intentions, and disregard the faulty opinions and misguided behaviors of others. Cultivate your powers of intellectual and intuitive discernment and live in the highest and best way without being unduly influenced by what others say or do. And so I invite you to take a deep breath, to breathe deeply and easily, and to allow your thoughts to center on the beingness of God. So I invite you to bring your attention back into this room. Just take a deep breath and simply let go. And to be with us for the next little while. And so it is.
Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Ooh, they just turned on the mic and it was like, whoa. Everybody here, I wish you all were here this morning because everybody is just energetic and chatting and they look lovely and wonderful. And however you're here is absolutely perfect, so thank you very much for inviting us into your homes, if that's the way that you're sharing this morning with us today. And thank you to everyone who's here in the room. I love having you here. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community spiritual director. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. And at Centers for Spiritual Living, we believe that there is one power and presence, a power and presence that is back of everything that there is, the creative energy that created everything, seen and unseen. Now, I call this power and presence God, but it goes by many names. But by whatever name we call it, it is the very presence of unconditional love, joy, peace, creativity, wisdom, abundance. I could go on and on and on, but I have a few other things I'd like to say today. So we'll finish with those qualities and to just say that because we were created in God's image and likeness, we too have all of those qualities within us. That right where we are, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness. And because God is creative, then we are creative also. So that means that we create the experiences of our lives. And that's, for me, is the really good news, because it means if I don't like the experience that I'm having in this moment, that I can change it. Change your thinking, change your life is much more than just a bumper sticker. It's a principle that works for everyone all of the time, just like gravity, just like electricity. And we come together to support each other as we walk this spiritual path together. So thank you so much for being here, for adding your energy to the collective energy, and for being such a lovely view for me to look at throughout the morning. So, we have a flower dedication every week, well, most every week. The flowers are always here. There's not always a dedication, but today there is a dedication, and I'm sure you can guess it is to all of the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to every mother, every grandmother, every great-grandmother, every single man who is a father, every gay man who is a father, and anyone and everyone else, because it is true that the divine feminine lives in each and every single one of us. So happy Mother's Day to all of us that are expressing the nurturing side of ourselves, the loving side of ourselves, the really open and giving side of ourselves that is the very presence of the divine feminine itself. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. Emily Cady, in her book Lessons in Truth, says, God is love. We cannot see love nor grasp any comprehension of what love is, except as love is clothed in a form. All the love in the universe is God. The love between husband and wife, between parents and children, is just the least little bit of God as pushed forward through visible form into manifestation. A mother's love, so infinitely tender, so unfailing is God's love, only manifest in a greater degree by the mother. So please take a look at this video that we are showing in honor of all of the mothers on the planet. Thank you to all of our mothers. Evan Hodgkin says, the quality of God that gives of itself, nurtures life, and holds everything together is pure love, unconditional love. And the model we've been given for this way of loving and living is motherhood. The only thing that gives us a chance to love as God loves is the fact that the feminine is within all of us. This is the magic of motherhood, of the divine mother. It is a get-out-of-jail-free card. The feminine liberates us from our prisons of feeling separate from one another, of living in fear and judgment. That's why it's called the divine feminine, divine motherhood. A mother's love is so complete, so nourishing, it can only be God loving through them. And so it is. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. I would like to take just a moment to thank Barbara Keene Betty Harris, Reverend Betty Harris, for her beautiful meditation that expanded the container that our service will unfold within. Thank you so very much, Betty. And speaking of Reverend Betty, please welcome her back to the podium.
And if you haven't seen it, to follow up on what we had before, please notice on the blue shirt in front of you, I'm a strong woman because a strong woman raised me. Yay. Thank you. So, for those of us who have raised children, being strong sometimes is hardly enough. But I don't know if I'm the only one here. I'm a great-grandmother. I have 2 great-grands, and I'm really happy and really proud of them. So they're still, well, one of them's 3, the other one's 13, but he was adopted from Bulgaria. Okay. The theme for this year is Living Out Loud. Our theme for the month of May is the light within the shadows. And Reverend Dusty's talk title today is Unlearning the Fear of Darkness. I'm going to read this community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. And I would like for you now to simply close your eyes and take a deep breath. And let us center ourselves for a moment. As you turn within and open your heart and mind, and you allow the sounds of the crystal bowls to simply wash over you. Know that you are here. Know that you are blessed. Know that we are one.
just start bringing your attention back into your bodies and into the room. And just take a breath. And I have a secondary flower dedication this morning. It's a little bit of a surprise. And the flowers that belong with this flower dedication are out on the welcome table in the hallway. This is to Reverend Dusty. Thank you for shepherding us, being our mother, befriending each of us, and taking us under your wing. I am so grateful for your leadership, presence, and friendship, and have such love for you. You are a gift from Sandy Ross, and truly the rest of us.
Thank you, Sandy.
And now, the next part of our service, the Triangle Center of Spiritual Living, honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. And I welcome Eileen to come up and help me with this. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love, that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thank you, Eileen. And now I invite everyone to close your eyes for a moment. I'm going to speak a blessing on the service. What a wonderful morning. What a wonderful day. And I recognize the power and the presence of love in, as, and through each of us. I know that that divine feminine is that loving presence in expression. And so I speak a blessing on our service this morning, knowing that we are all here on purpose. We're here to receive a gift from the divine, a gift of love, a gift of guidance, a gift of a new experience, maybe a surprise, but all surrounded with that loving presence. And so I speak a blessing on Reverend Dusty as she brings forth the inspiration for us all today. I speak a blessing on her as she continues to shepherd us as the shepherd of this congregation through our lives, helping us to raise our consciousness and to connect more and more each and every day with the love that is that expression of God itself. And I speak a blessing on all the volunteers who came early this morning to help prepare the space, those volunteers behind the scenes that take care of our congregation. And I speak a blessing on the congregation itself, and knowing that divine right action is happening in each and every one of our lives. And last but not least, I speak a blessing on our chanteuse this morning, Cindy Johnson, as she inspires us with her wonderful gift of music and song. And so I release this word into the law of love that only ever says yes, and so it is. And today's reading is from Race and the Cosmos by Dr. Barbara Holmes. She says, "The phrase, 'the world was dark and void,' is not an indictment. It is an indication of the state of the universe in the beginning. It is the womb out of which we are born, a genesis space for let there be. This is a mothering darkness that nurses its offspring. I am describing a darkness that strengthens us, encourages us to push deep roots into the dark earth, where we can grow towards the light fed by the darkness." And so it is. And now, that amazing and wonderful Cindy Johnson.
I am just a vessel, and this week I was not able to find a song that Spirit thought was appropriate. So I had faith and sat down at the piano. And here's that song. Darkness, you are not my enemy. You are not one to fear. You are just stillness in my soul, a place to rest and then contemplate all the choices that I have made. I can choose with your support to look at all my thinking, see if it supports the way I feel. And if it doesn't, it's okay to let it go. I just forgive and let it go. In the stillness I can think about all the things I want to change, things that kept me down and limited my life. You provided me with courage to find new ways to think about others and myself. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to celebrate the life that I was given. And in the stillness, I thank you for your calm that reminds me that darkness and light and my God are one. It reminds me that God and I are one.
Cindy, that was absolutely amazing. I can't believe that you did that. Well, I can, because you're just amazing. And that you would write that in the absence of some inspiration from the divine is truly above and beyond. And that it so fits the talk is very indicative of the fact that there is just one mind. And so again, I think we need to give her another little, that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to those of you who may have just arrived in the sanctuary or may have just invited us into your homes. Now, you don't have to raise your hand and out yourself in any kind of way. But how many of you out here, or out there are afraid of the dark? And maybe not necessarily afraid of the dark in this moment, at this age, but who can remember being afraid of the dark when you were younger, when you were a child growing up? So lots of hands going up in this room. I don't know about you at home, but so you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. I remember growing up in Minnesota, we had a basement. And man, that basement was dark and scary. And I very rarely ever went down there of my own volition, right? You know, my mom or my dad would ask me to do something and it involved going down there, and I took my old sweet time getting down those stairs, and then I would run around the basement trying to get the thing done that I was supposed to do, and then I would run like, you know what, to get up those stairs before whatever it was that was down there would get me. Now, the back of those stairs were open, right? They were open. And I absolutely knew that something was going to grab through those stairs and grab my ankle and yank me back down into whatever horror was awaiting me. And while I'm not really afraid of the darkness now, I can still feel that feeling. I can feel that feeling in my body as I think about those moments of racing up those stairs. So darkness symbolizes, right, a myriad of really negative connotations. It's almost universally thought that unfavorable events happen in the dark. Unfavorable events that trigger very unpleasant human experiences. Most of the time, people fear darkness for what it represents, right? And what comes up for most of us when we think about the darkness can range from fear to harm, to dread, to destruction, and maybe even to death. As a result, a person trapped in the dark may feel hopelessness or despair. Now, adding to that, there are very many faith traditions that really believe that the goodness is represented by light, and that all things evil are tied up with the darkness. Now, we don't believe that because we don't even believe in evil, but there are many traditions that do believe that. Now, the good news is that contrary to public and popular belief, darkness is not entirely antagonistic by nature. Cindy sang about it. Some people see darkness in a very different light, and because of that, they're able to see the positive symbolism associated with darkness, and therefore they're able to experience the gifts that darkness can actually bring to us. Now, one of the gifts is balance. Some people believe that without darkness, there's no balance in the world. That light and dark are two sides of the same coin, and that they keep the world in balance because the scale is balanced out. If we take the darkness out of the equation, then it will disrupt the harmony that's within the system. It'll mess with that. Another gift can be faith. In several religious traditions, faith can mean being tested during some kind of an encounter with a dark period in our lives. And so when you have that idea, then the meaning can actually be reframed to mean that we are strengthening our faith in God by going through those kinds of dark moments or those uncertain times in our lives. Another gift could be infinite possibilities. Think about this, that some people think about darkness as a lack of direction in our lives, while others consider darkness as an opportunity to forge their own way, right? To the absence of light as a guide forces them to be able to find their own way, forces them to be able to make their own path or choose their own steps rather than being guided. Now, on one hand, human beings tend to fear the unknown and those things that we don't really understand very well, those things that we're uncertain about, unsure about. Now, we label, we dominate, we control, or we cast negativity on those kind of dark and ominous spaces. We've been generally taught to really fear instead of embrace the darkness. We've been taught that throughout most of our lives. And there's a huge, think about this too, there's also a very huge market for scary movies and scary novels and amusement parks that scare the bejeebus out of you, right? It's like, in very subtle and in blatant ways, we objectify the dark and we really glorify the light. We perpetuate that fear of the dark instead of teaching the beauty that exists in both the light and the dark, and especially that beauty exists when they're in partnership with each other. Yeah. Amen. Now, on the other hand, if we were to really think about it, it says in the Bible, and we heard it in the quote today in the reading, that the beginning of the world was without form and void, and that a darkness brooded over the deep. Brooded over the deep. Therefore, the beginning of time happened in darkness. Our own very lives began in the darkness of our mother's womb. And seeds germinate in the darkness of the soil. So therefore, darkness is a space of fertility and creativity, not something to be afraid of. So, once upon a time, you always know a story's coming when you hear that. Once upon a time, twins were conceived in the mother's womb. And weeks passed and the twins developed, and together they began to explore their world. And as their awareness grew, they laughed for joy. And when they found their mother's cord that gave them life, they sang for joy. How great is our mother's love that she shares her own life with us. How great is that? As the weeks stretched into months, the twins began to notice how much they were changing. "What does it mean?" asked one of them. It means that our stay in this world is coming to an end, said the other. But I don't want to go, said the first one. I want to stay here, always. We have no choice, said the other. Maybe there is life after birth. But how can that be? Responded the other. We will shed our life cord, and how is it possible without it? Besides, we have evidence that there were others here before us, and none of them have come back to tell us how it is out there. Nope, this is the end. So the one fell into deep despair, saying, conception ends in birth. What is the purpose of life in the womb? It's meaningless. Maybe there is no mother after all. Oh no, there has to be, protested the other. How else did we get here? How do we remain alive? Well, have you seen our mother? Maybe she only lives in our minds. Maybe we made her up because the idea of it feels so good. And so the last days in the womb were filled with deep questioning and fear. Finally, the moment of birth arrived. When the twins passed from their world as they knew it, they opened their eyes and they cried, for what they saw far exceeded their wildest dreams. Are you with me? You know what I'm not really talking about. Clearly, this moment of arrival is present right for all human beings. But if we were to think about it metaphorically, how often has this happened to each and every single one of us? What do we fear beyond reason? That next birthing into that next life. That darkness. But how often really has the darkness in our life given birth to light, given birth to something new, something better in our lives? There are some flowers, such as the night-blooming cactus, that only blooms in darkness. Some flowers, like some people, actually require the dark to bloom. Some people need the trials, need the suffering, need the loss, need the life upheavals to experience growth and transformation, to come into the fullness of their beingness, to come into the fullness of their life purpose. These people bloom in the darkness of adversity. Now, the underlying truth is that when we bloom in the dark, we don't just bounce back from a trauma or to adapt to adversity. The truth is that we become more. We become more as a result of that trauma and that adversity. Cindy sang about it. So, for example, consider a man who doesn't just continue to interview for jobs after experiencing a series of rejections. No, he took the time to do some difficult soul searching with the help of a therapist or a practitioner or a minister, and realized that deep down he did not believe that he was worthy, that he was worth hiring. He expected rejection. He expected rejection, and not only from the people, the potential employers, but for everyone in life. He worked through this negative self-belief, and not only did he interview well from that moment on, but he actually got the next job that he really wanted, and he started enjoying life in a whole brand new way. His whole outlook was more positive and engaging. Or the woman who had been betrayed didn't just fall in love again, The next time she chooses to love with her entire being. And when she chooses to love with her entire being, she more fully engaged in the relationship. And when she more fully engaged in the relationship, she experienced a level of intimacy that she never had ever even believed or imagined existed. Her second relationship was so much better than her first, far more fulfilling. Through her experience of loss, she learned how to really love a partner and how to receive love in return. The darkness gave way to the light. Now, in these examples, the individuals weren't just resilient, they bloomed in the dark. They allowed the force that collapsed something in their lives to be the very energy that caused them to become a better version of themselves. In order to really appreciate the beauty of darkness, we have to unlearn the stigma, unlearn the conditioning that we have been given. What if we partnered with the dark instead of fearing or controlling or labeling it? What if we held the unknown with wonderment, with curiosity, and with awe in our lives? Activist Valerie Kaur asks the question, what if these times are not the darkness of the tomb, but they are the darkness of the womb? The bottom line is that there is power and potential in times of darkness. It can evolve us. Whenever and wherever there is darkness, there is something within us that can sense in a really deep and intuitive way that there is another side to this, that there is a lesson that can be learned, that we can reframe what we are going through to support our growth and transformation. In our own lives, perhaps we can remember a time or two or three or four in which we moved through the darkness, through the most difficult pain we could ever imagine, opened to a greater understanding of who we are. According to Tara Branch, in times of darkness or great difficulty, there are 4 key ways of paying attention, whether it's in our own personal lives or it's in the collective life of the planet, that can allow for darkness to be transformative. So the first one is to don't believe the thoughts that create separation. Don't believe the thoughts that create separation. Now this one can be really challenging because we are so conditioned to live in that cocoon of our habitual thoughts. Those thoughts that we think again and again and again and again. Our human negativity bias, we have a bias towards negativity, and that ends up creating fear thoughts and fear beliefs that usually take the shape of there's something wrong with me, or probably more often, there's something wrong with you. That judgment leads to distance. That judgment leads to separation. That judgment leads to hatred. It keeps our personal lives such that we have a hard time feeling real intimacy. And collectively, it keeps us at war. According to Science of Mind principles, our thoughts shape our reality. What we focus on manifests, what we resist persists. How many times have you heard all of that? Now, if our subconscious mind is filled with negativity about the dark, then we are bound to manifest negativity in our experience based on our thoughts and our beliefs. Now, that doesn't mean that there might not be some wise discrimination in them, but if we are believing the thoughts and the beliefs, and they are creating separation and hatred, they will not serve us. They will not. It's up to us to gain awareness of the inner dynamics of our thoughts and our beliefs, those thoughts and beliefs that might sabotage our good, and to begin to change them. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. This is a practice that we can embrace in order to unlearn our fear of the darkness. The darkness can show us the way home when we're lost just as easily as the light can, if we trust it and we surrender to its magnificence. We have to allow it to do that. When we have an open mind and an open heart about learning something new, or about learning something old unlearning something old that no longer serves us, then we lean into our lives with curiosity and exploration. Why is this showing up for me now? What is the lesson in it? How can I grow from it rather than being in fear or in resistance? Through openness, surrender, and release, we can learn to unlearn our current thinking and to let go of those habits that have limited us and limited those in our lives. Number 2, feel your feelings and learn to stay. Our emotions are intelligent. We need them. And each one of them, if we listened, has a message for us. Anger tells us when there's obstacles to what really matters in our lives. Fear alerts us to impending danger. Grief reminds us to pay attention to the hurting and the emptiness that we feel after a loss. Emotions inform us of unmet needs. When we lean in and bring a really gentle, kind, loving, caring presence to our feelings rather than running away from them, then we will discover that there is within us a space that can hold them all. And there is a profound gift in that. From that space, we can respond with greater intelligence and creativity to what is happening in our lives. Number 3, turn towards love. Now, our primitive prior conditioning has not always had us doing that. In fact, more often than not, we perceive ourselves as separate from each other, a separate organism that really tries to control or to grab onto or to forcibly push others away from us. We fixate on what's wrong rather than on the possibility of a loving connection. It can feel vulnerable and really risky, right, to take the chance to turn toward love in a really open and undefended way. We turn towards love by remembering that we are the presence of love itself. Cindy said, love, God, and I are one. We turn towards love by directly bringing our presence, our authenticity, our kindness, our tenderness, and our vulnerability to all of our relationships. The experience of connectedness can assist us to undo that conditioning and to really free our hearts. Doesn't that sound like a wonderful way to live? And the 4th is to act from love. As we remember our connectedness, it's natural to act from our hearts. It's just natural. Engaging from a place of deep caring deconditions the more habitual tendencies that we have toward being obsessed with making ourselves comfortable, or blaming others, or proving ourselves, or seeking approval, or living from a place of victimhood. There can be a profound healing and freedom when we move from self-centeredness to serving. Now I have another story for you this morning about another mother that speaks to this idea. And the mother's name is Soledad. Now Soledad was the mother of 4. And she was very, very proud when her oldest son, Ronnie, went into the Marines. At some point in time, he got a furlough, and he came home for a visit. And after a short little bit of being there, he went out to go get some takeout food and bring it back for the family. Not long after he left, Soledad heard shots on the street near their home. And she stuck her head out in time to investigate, and in time to hold her son as he died in her arms. Now, as you can imagine, the pain she was in. Soon after, her next oldest son, Angel, pulled off something that very few in the hood do, and that is to graduate from high school. He helped Soledad pull through the hell that she was living in. 6 months after Ronnie's death, he encouraged her to put some clothes on with some color in them, and to do her hair, and to really be a mom to her remaining 3 children. That afternoon, while sitting and eating a sandwich on their front porch, Angel was shot by kids from a rivaling gang. As can be expected, Soledad was locked in anguish. There are few of us that could truly understand that kind of pain. At one grief support meeting, she was asked how she was doing, and she said, "I love the 2 kids I have. I hurt for the 2 that are gone." And then crying, she admits, "The hurt wins. The hurt wins." Several months later, she was in the emergency room for some chest pains when a kid with multiple gunshot wounds was rushed in on a gurney to the spot next to her. Now, they didn't close the curtain between them, so she was able to witness him fighting for his life, and she noticed that he was from one of the rival gangs, one of the gangs that had shot her sons. She knew that her friends might say, "Pray that he dies." But that isn't what happened. She heard the doctors yelling, "We are losing him," and something in her cracked open. "I began to cry as I have never cried before," she said, "and started to pray the hardest I have ever prayed. Please, please don't let him die. I don't want his mom to go through what I have gone through." And he survived, as did she. And so did her capacity for loving. It was ripped open by the grief, and in time became unimaginably vast. Unimaginably vast. Tara Branch says, "I love this story because ultimately I have this faith that anything that happens to us can be a part of what wakes us up. It doesn't mean that we want painful things to happen to us or to anybody else. It just means that we can trust that if we know how to be in relationship with our life, suffering can be a darkness of the womb. So today, as we celebrate Mother's Day, the invitation is to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Divine Mother teaches us about the principle that holds darkness as creativity, that holds darkness as the gestation of life. It nurtures us in the safe, dark spaces of love to be born into the physical manifestation and light. The invitation is to allow whatever darkness there is within us or surrounding us to serve as an awakening. To allow the darkness to be a rebirthing into a world that is filled with compassion, love, kindness, and acceptance. By unlearning our own fears of the dark, we invite healing and balance and unlimited possibilities and faith into our lives. By unlearning our collective fear of the darkness, we will ultimately create a world that works for everyone. And so it is. Thank you all so very, very, very much. I invite everyone to please close your outer eyes and turn within as I speak a word of prayer on our behalf. Truly knowing with my eyes closed and my attention turned inward, I am aware of that presence, that power, that unconditional love that is within me and surrounding me. I know that I was created in its image and likeness, that wherever I am, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness, that I am its ambassador on the planet, bringing all of its goodness, all of its love, all of its wisdom, all of its creativity, all of its abundance, all of its freedom, all of its grace to everyone on the planet. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is absolutely the truth of each and every single person here today, every person that is watching us now, every person that will watch us later in time, every sentient being on the planet. We are all unique and divine emanations of the One. And it is from that place of unity, connected one to the other by that golden thread of God's stuff, that I speak these words about and for each of us today. That we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, that we have everything we need within us to live the life of our dreams. I claim ease and grace for each of us around unlearning the conditioning that we have, that conditioning that we have bought into about darkness, that we begin to reframe it in a different light, and in doing so we allow it to have its way with us, that by doing so we allow it to work its magic, a magic that is different from, but no less than, the magic of the light. That truly each and every moment of our lives is an opportunity for celebration, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for evolution. Even the darkness. So I know for each of us, the balance, the unlimited possibilities, the faith, and the shift in our consciousness that darkness, uncertainty, pain can bring us. And I claim that we are open to it. At the very least, willing to be open. knowing that it is a spiritual practice, and as we do so, it grows, and we become better and better and better at it. I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation. Letting go and letting God be God, I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, "And so it is." And so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week when we offer our financial support to this community to continue to assist us to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Together we affirm that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and contributes to the experience of sufficiency on the planet. There are 3 ways that you can give. They're here on the screen or they're on your screens at home. Number 1, visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. 2, text the word give using the following number, 919, 230-8445. Thank you, Karen. And number 3, mail your gift to our office at PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina 27519. Please place your hand on your heart with an intention for yourself or for this community, and please repeat our offering affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life.
I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life.
I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source.
I give with gratitude, knowing God is my source.
And so it is.
So it is.
And now please give our blessing, the lovely Cindy Johnson, another round of applause.
Thank you.
You are the earth, the moon, the sun. You are the life in everyone. You are in me, and we are one. And with those words, I take your hand. I am. Now, what I feel about what I do, it isn't you. And what I say about what I see, that's up to me. And I affirm I have the choice to live and learn to hear your voice. You are the earth, the moon, the sun. You are the life in everyone. You are in me, and we are one. With these words, I take your hand. I am. You are the earth, the moon, the sun. You are my life in everyone. You are in me, and we are one. And with these words, I take your hand. I am. I am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Always beautiful. Thank you. Okay. If anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the page, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all the ministers and the practitioners, and be prepared for wonderful, amazing results. And if anyone would, that's right, amen. If anyone would like a dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. Join us today, right here, for the return of our Wise Women's Tea on Mother's Day. Many of you may have participated in this amazing event in the past. From 3 to 5, we'll gather together amazing women from all decades of life to share their wisdom with each other. And the event's going to be held right here next door, I think. And coming up, the next announcement is about our leadership training. It is a 2-day workshop for members who wish to serve as a team leader, home group leader, or on our leadership council. Even if you're not interested in being a leader at the center, this training is a wonderful workshop for being a leader in your own life, so you're invited. The dates for the training are Sunday, May 21st and Sunday, June 25th. Both begin at noon and finish at 4 o'clock. Please RSVP to info@trianglecsl.org. Please note that in order to attend, you must commit to attending both days, and you must have successfully completed or are signing up for the 10-week foundations class beginning in June. Do it. It'll be... This next announcement is about our upcoming community visioning events. We had our first community event in April. The other two are Sunday, May 28th and Sunday, June 18th. I just can't help it. Paul McCartney's birthday. We are asking for approximately 20 minutes of your time immediately following the service to facilitate a community visioning. Please consider joining us for 1, 2, or all of these amazing visioning sessions and add your divine insight to the whole as we move forward into God's highest idea of the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. That's whole with a W. Join us for our Foundations class. It is a 10-week entry-level class for the study of the science of mind. It is a personal exploration of the 10 core concepts of the science of mind, philosophy, faith, and way of life, and their application to the process of daily living. Discover and express the power, creativity, freedom, abundance, and joy that lie within you. Learn about one cosmic reality, how to forgive the past, live in the present, and consciously design your future. You will complete this class with increased poise, confidence, and power in every area of your life. The Foundations class is required for anyone wishing to serve as a team leader or home group leader or on our leadership council. The course is 10 weeks in length plus 1 prayer workshop day. The class will be held on Tuesday evenings beginning Tuesday, June 6th and running through Tuesday, August 29th. This includes no class on July the 4th, Tuesday, July the 4th, and Tuesday, August the 8th. The prayer workshop will be held on Saturday, July 8th from 9 to 4. The class will be held on Zoom from 6:30 to 9:30. The cost is $245, which includes a $25 deposit. The required text is The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Please consider joining us for this life-changing class. And do it. and now, in the comfort of your home or here, Please stand and join me for the May affirmation. This is a call and response. As a spiritual being living a human experience, I live from both the inner and outer spectrums of life. I recognize that both are necessary for my growth and evolution. Today, I choose to allow them to work in harmony with one another. As a human being walking a spiritual path, I often tend to fear the unknown. Today, I consciously release any fear of the dark that I may have and open to new perspectives. I allow myself to hold the unknown with wonderment. Today, I choose to shine my light against the dark like the stars shining against the night sky. My star shines brightly, and my life is one of balance and wholeness. So it is. Woohoo! All right, let's turn within one more time. And I recognize the magnificence of the moment, of the inspiration, the joy, the fun, the energy that's been created here in our time together. And I know that as we bring forth this new expression of ourselves, that our lives bloom as a result of what we've learned today, and that this affects every aspect of our community, of our home, and of our loved ones. And so I know that the love of the divine is expressed more beautifully and more greatly in every moment, and I'm so grateful to know that this is so, and so it is.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to Cindy. Thank you to Martin and Amy, our volunteers today. Thank you to Heather back on AV, to Reverend Betty, and to Babs for their service today. Thank you all for joining us here. Thank you all for inviting us into your home. Thank you to Sandy Ross for her beautiful flower dedication. I love you, girl. And to Happy Mother's Day to everyone, I love you all. Have a great week.